So today what I want to talk to you about is these news reports that I have seen right here on ccn.com. And I think it just hits the crux of the fundamentals of what's going on in the cryptocurrency Bitcoin space. If you saw my video yesterday, then you kind of saw a real use case or a real life scenario or real life example. That's the best thing to say. You saw a real life example of one reason why governments aren't extremely excited about the adoption of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. And I don't think they'll ever be excited about a true decentralized form of blockchain currency. They might get excited about digital currencies, and they might get excited about private cryptocurrency blockchains that they may control or create, but governments or banks, which go hand in hand with governments or banks, I don't think will ever be excited about it. Okay, I just want you to know this. I'm traveling right now, so if you hear little interruptions or whatever, I don't get as much time to be able to edit my videos. Not that I do a ton of editing anyway, but I do try to edit out any sort of major mistakes or whatever. So, and like I just paused the video and restarted, I typically would clip that out, but I'm not going to do that today. So just letting you know kind of what's going on and where I'm at. I've been traveling in Europe for almost 2 weeks. I've got a whole list. Just before I get into this video today, I also want you to know I've got a list of content that I want to put out related to smart contracts, HDX20 tokens, and the HDX20 and P3D, as well as some other stuff crypto related. I keep thinking things, and I've got a running list. I want to compare and contrast several things in the crypto space. I want to do some tutorials on all the different ways to buy cryptocurrency. I want to do tutorials about all the ways to buy cryptocurrency with credit card and debit card, because that is the biggest thing that crypto needs really towards mass adoption, outside of people willingness to use it, is being able to be more convenient using it. So I've got a lot of educational type tutorials coming up that I want to do and things I want to talk about, but I can't get to that right now until I have more time to really dedicate to editing content, putting things up, maybe even attempting to create some, like I need some more organization. I need more time to organize what I'm going to do to be able to put that kind of stuff up. So just stay tuned for my channel. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Just know that content is going to be on the way. I also want to give a quick heads up. Those of you who've been following the Cryptotab browser, they are having some technical issues right now. This has happened before. That browser is not currently mining Bitcoin. And I'll have a link down below if you don't know what I'm talking about, but it's currently not mining Bitcoin. It's been down for about a day, I think, not quite 24 hours. That's currently, I'm not too worried about it. That's not unusual, and I may cover that in another video, shorter video later. Let's get right into the content today. Leading VC investor, venture capitalist investor, dismissing crypto is like dismissing the internet in 1993. I was just talking about this day before yesterday with someone. I said, look, if people who are around me, when I get on a topic, man, I talk about it, and I can't help but talk about it. And then when I feel like they're not getting it, as soon as something happens in conversation or whatever, or a topic comes up, I'm like, yeah, cryptocurrency would help solve that. And I don't even realize that. I mean, I can almost become annoyingly obsessed with trying to show you the use cases, trying to get you to understand what's taking place and what's going on. So I have to really hold back. But I see that I just told someone, I said, if you're avoiding cryptocurrency and if you're avoiding blockchain, like this is the next evolution of technology, network technology, like the internet was. I mean, the internet changed the world and will always, we can't go back. The genie's out of the bottle. I believe that's happening with cryptocurrency. Come hell or high water, whether government wants to accept it, central banks want to accept it, I believe we're on a path that it will eventually get accepted. And I don't believe they'll be able to ultimately stop it, or anyone will stop it. So I think they're going to ultimately try to find some way to accept it, but try to accept it with some sort of controls or some sort of regulation attempts along the way. So we'll see that. That's why, by the way, this is also why I'm not a big fan of regulations for cryptocurrency, because I think the regulations are first about controls, not the safety of you and I as the world's citizens. And so that's kind of what concerns me about regulation in the cryptocurrency space. And when I hear people say, oh, we need more regulation, oh, we need more regulation, I'm like, you don't even understand the origination of why cryptocurrency existed. You don't even understand the intent behind Satoshi Nakamoto. Like, you need to go watch Money is Debt. Like, I tell everyone to watch that, so you can, and probably because it was one of the first major things that really, really made me think, wow, this is going to be a game changer for certain, and there's all the reasons why. But anyway, let's keep going. So leading VC investor dismisses crypto, says it's like dismissing the internet. And let's just take a look at this article. Actually, we'll go here. Leading VC investor dismissing crypto is like dismissing the internet in 1993. I don't know how many of you can remember this, but there were plenty of people that did not think the internet, the general population, thought it was neat, thought it was fascinating. No one could have imagined our lives would have almost become dependent on it. Benedict Evans, a general partner at Anderson Horowitz, one of the most successful venture capital firms in the world, has said that crypto is quite similar to the internet in 1993. As with any other emerging technology or market, the cryptocurrency space has seen a large number of failed projects and scams over the past several years. However, according to Evans, if investors focus on the failed projects and fraudulent operations in the exponentially growing cryptocurrency sector, it would be like dismissing the internet in 1999 based on the lack of progress of Usenet, QNet, and Boo.com. That's perfect. We oftentimes have such short memories. Crypto today has a lot in common with both the internet in 1993 and the internet in 1999. Huge potential with few of the use cases invented yet, combined with froth, scams, and delusions. This makes it easier to dismiss, but dismissing crypto as a useless scam is much like looking at Usenet, QNet, and Boo.com and dismissing the internet. It makes applications for the enabling layer. Emerging technologies disguised as inferior technology. Previously, Ben Horowitz, a legendary venture capitalist investor and co-founder of A16Z, emphasized that one deceptive aspect about emergency technologies like crypto and mobile phones is that in the beginning, emerging technology seems significantly inferior to existing technologies. Hence, due to the discrepancy in efficiency and practicality between emerging technologies and existing solutions, it is easier to dismiss newly created technologies on the premise that they are dominated scams. In a new market, investors often try to rush in to invest in every new project to catch the bubble. Does that not sound like crypto or what? People are like, oh, I'm going to invest in this ICO. They're going to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, how do you know that outside of they said that? Give me some other evidence. It's like the 1990s or the early 2000s, like, really, I guess the 90s. In the 90s, it was really about the tech boom. People were telling you about one company after another. This stock or that stock, they're going to do this and that, and it's like this.com, and they're going to do what? And you're always like, well, what are they going to do? How are they going to do that? In the 2000s, it's like real estate. Buy real estate. Oh, that's expensive. The numbers don't make sense. Who cares? Buy it anyway. Real estate always goes up. I knew guys who would go look at properties with purchase agreements in their hand before they even saw the property because they wanted to buy it because they were so afraid the next guy was going to buy it after them. I mean, that's kind of what the ICO space is. We haven't hit that fervor yet, that excitement level yet. I don't think even in crypto, really, not on a mass scale. But that's where people are at with crypto. It's like, oh, there's this new ICO, and everybody's afraid they're going to miss the next best thing. In the meantime, people lose money left, right, and center because they have literally no fundamental. Oh, what's this? Okay, because they literally have no fundamental method outside of hope and hype. Anyway. Hence, due to the discrepancy in efficiency and practicality between emerging technologies, okay, we already covered that. In a new market, investors often try to rush in to invest in we covered that, sorry. But Evans explained that the market matures, more mainstream use cases will emerge, and technologies employed by projects in the sector will drastically improve. Looking at crypto and only seeing the scams is like looking at the internet in 1999 and only seeing the bubble. Exactly. Looking at crypto and seeing no use cases is like looking at the internet in 1993 when the web was 3% of traffic. That's crazy, said Evans. Let me tell you a story about 1999 and what happened to me. And I kind of I've learned a lot. That's why, like, if you hear my channel sometimes, I'm like, oh, Bitcoin went down, I'm buying more. Ethereum went down, I'm buying more. P3D went down, I'm buying more. Here's why. In the 90s, I watched, I was in college and I was buying like investing in stocks and stuff for my very first time ever and buying a few shares here and there. And I remember that all of a sudden the market was dipping, the economy seemed a little bit weak, nothing had really crashed yet. And we were picking up Yahoo back then for like year-to-date highs. Well, at that point in time in my life, if it was on a year-to-date high, that was a definite low. Like that it's going up. It's going up. This is the best time to be buying. And I was using all of my little spare cash to try to buy stocks and stuff. And then the crash came, and it just sunk, and it dropped so much further than anyone could anticipate, especially the technology sector. In particular, I don't know what the stock market, I don't know what the stock price is now, but you should go look up Priceline right now. And it might have even been through a stock split or two since then. I don't know. But I can remember very specifically watching the news, and they were talking about stocks dropped and crashed, and some of the more popular stocks were at these all-time crazy lows. And Priceline back then was like $1. $1. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness. And the emotion side gets in. There's this whole thing about buy low, sell high. The problem with buying low is you have to buy low when everybody else is selling. And it's like, oh my goodness, Priceline.com is really going to go away. They're going to disappear as a stock. They're going to crash and burn. They're only $1. How much lower can it go? I can almost hear some of these cryptocurrency YouTubers. Oh no, oh no. But then it's recovered and it's went through the roof. And if you fundamentally believe in something, yes, it can always go to zero. Listen, we can all be wrong. But in this space, I told the gentleman the other day that the same guy was telling about technology. He's bought in and lost money in cryptocurrency, but he just did it because his son told him to. And I said, man, that's not why you do it. You take a small amount that you don't care if you lose it. You have to know that you don't care if you lose it. And you just keep investing consistently over time. Or if you have a way to make a little extra side income that you don't need for your life, you can make an extra few $100s, extra $50, extra $1,000. If you have a way to do that and you don't care if it affects your normal life, then use that to purchase cryptocurrency. Once you do your own research and you have your own knowledge base, because it's going to be a wild ride, but who knows where it goes ultimately in the future. In regards to the popular argument against cryptocurrencies, they have no clear use cases, Evans stated. In the 1990s, there was not a sufficient reason for mainstream use to utilize the internet. That's true. The difference between crypto in 2018 and the internet in 1993 is that cryptocurrencies already have several use cases that surpass the efficiency of legacy systems. Absolutely. Proof of weak hands. For instance, a cross-border payment method is substantially cheaper to send a Bitcoin payment than rely on banking systems, as seen in the settlement of 194 million worth of Bitcoin with a 0.1% fee. Okay, no mainstream use cases. There was no reason for any normal person to use the internet in 1993, which is why no normal person did use it. And the thing that changed that, the web barely existed. We had a capability. Crypto is in its infancy. For investors, venture capital firms, and hedge funds, it is easier to dismiss crypto than to understand and recognize its potential in the long term, to operate as a consensus currency and a global supercomputer. There you go, right there. Governments and central banks will not want the consensus currency, but they will. They have a massive need for the global supercomputer. But if crypto does achieve mainstream adoption, investors that did not consider the potential of the technology will be left out, as seen in the case of the internet in 1999. So fascinating, so fascinating, so fascinating. All right, let's go back. Brazilian Bitcoin exchange wins standoff as bank reopens accounts to avoid fees. So I'll just go into this one. Goldman Sachs is signing up customers for its Bitcoin trading product report. Again, Goldman Sachs has said you got to be careful when you listen to so-called experts, especially banking experts, mainstream banking experts. Goldman Sachs has come out before against Bitcoin, and now they're like signing up Bitcoin, customers for its Bitcoin trading product. You just got to be careful. Brazilian Bitcoin exchange wins standoff. Okay. So again, this is a perfect example of banks attempting to fight. Brazilian Bitcoin exchange wins standoff as bank reopens account to avoid fines. Bitcoin Max, a Brazilian cryptocurrency exchange, which by the way I've never heard of, has recently seen two banks in the country, Santander and Banco do Brasil, reopen its accounts following preliminary decisions made by Brazilian's Federal District Court. They reportedly reopened the exchange's accounts to avoid paying fines. By the way, if you don't know this, like even Coinbase, cryptocurrency companies have a really hard time managing cryptocurrency. Coinbase has one bank, I read an entire article, they have one bank in California, which is like a kind of a regional level bank, but not not like a top level bank. There's names for that, but it wasn't a top level bank that would typically offer, service to an exchange. But there's this one like mid-level bank that is pro cryptocurrency, but they're constantly, that bank and Coinbase is often trying to walk a tightrope with regulations, and it takes months sometimes to pull this stuff together, if not a couple of years, to finalize details and to get regulators to work themselves out. There's a documentary, and I can't remember which one it was, that was talking about that particular bank, how the CEO of the bank basically fell in love with cryptocurrencies, and he couldn't figure out why nobody was helping these cryptocurrency companies, and he saw a huge opportunity. And in there, by the way, he even talks about at some point this may be like illegal or we might not be allowed to do it, but today we can, so why aren't we doing it, kind of thing. So that's just a very interesting aspect once you realize that, and you see that how the banking system is fighting back and against. According to local news outlet Porto do Bitcoin, failing to comply would have cost Santana up to $1,350. That's got to be $1 million. And Banco do Brasil up to $5,400. Speaking to the outlet, Bitcoin Max's attorney Leonardo Reina reportedly revealed its bank accounts had been restored, along with those of his partners. The ordeal may not yet be over, as the case against Banco Santander saw it comply because of a kind of injunction that determined the financial institution had to reopen the exchange's account within 5 days. The injunction had previously been denied by a judge. Okay, this seems boring, but you get the gist. Oh my goodness. This is all over. Look, this is all over $32,000. Wow. This is ridiculous. No wonder we've never heard of Bitcoin Max. But just the idea that a bank's going to make a big deal over something like that. Look, I don't know if you've been here in the States and you've ever tried to withdraw a large amount of money for anything. Try to go on vacation, try to pull out $5,000, $3,000, $10,000. I can tell you right now that there are, I mean, in my own experience, and because I'm in this space and I see issues going on with other, I can share stories with you about banks and not being friendly with cash, whether it's making a withdrawal or you have a business. I know a laundromat who lost their with a major bank. I'm not going to say the name, but it's a major bank. If you're even slightly familiar with U.S. banking, you would know this bank. But they basically lost their account, and the bank literally just said, "We don't want your business." And it was all over the fact that they were turning vast amounts of cash in, large amounts of cash in, and it was they had a chain of laundromats, but it was like too much cash, and they were worried about money laundering, but with no proof, no nothing, because banks are private entities basically, meaning they're corporations. They're public in some cases, but they're not run by the government. But they basically just came forward and said, yeah, we don't want your accounts, and that particular business had to go try to find another bank and reopen accounts. But it was a huge headache for them, because all of a sudden they cannot, it slowed down their business for a couple of days trying to figure out what to do. They had all this cash they were sitting on. It wasn't the end of the world. It was just a big snafu and a pain in the butt that they figured out in 2 or 3 days. But just the idea, most people have never been in a position where a bank's like, yeah, we're just gonna shut down your account. You can go look at you can go read Bitcoin Talk and find enough people that have made deposits and withdrawals in Bitcoin, and that banks have basically said they've shut down their accounts without any real reason. I'm telling you, the banking industry, the cryptocurrency space, it's a very interesting space, but you have to ask yourself, why? The reason they're going to tell you they're shutting it down, they're always going to tell you that it's about, worried about terrorism. They're going to tell you that they're worried about, money laundering and that sort of thing. But is it really fair to accuse someone of money laundering and you have zero zilch evidence? Has that account ever appeared to be suspected of anything else ever in its lifetime? Some of these accounts can be 10, 15, 20 years old. You've had that customer for that long. Have you ever seen anything suspect within their account? Listen, it's fascinating times, and I think all of this is just confirmation that the technology is fighting against. Or is being actively pushed back against. Bitcoin's right now at $6,300. We are in a very unique time and space. One day Bitcoin could be 60,000 or 600,000. We're just in a very unique time and space. This is like cutting edge stuff here, and I believe this is the next frontier of technology, especially computing technology. Let me know what you think. Put your comments down below. What are your thoughts about the cryptocurrency atmosphere, the contention that exists? Do you see it as confirmation? Are you one of those that believe we need regulations? And do you believe the regulations will actually protect us, or will it do more to, prevent the emerging of cryptocurrency as a whole? Let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear about it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and leave a comment below.